I've made several videos on how to read more in the past, and I've given you guys a bunch of different tips, things that I've used in my own experience reading, trying to get through more books. And I'm making this video because honestly, I've kind of been slacking on my own reading. At the beginning of the year, I was really keeping up a good streak. I was reading book after book, just a lot of books I enjoyed, and I was learning a lot of new stuff, and I was just getting a lot of it done. But recently, over the last, I'd say 2 or 3 weeks, I really hit a bit of a plateau. And I noticed that I just wasn't reading as much. I wasn't devoting as much time to reading. And I had to kind of stop and wonder why this was, because it was sort of annoying me. And I realized that I was sort of going against the biggest piece of advice I always give, which is to only read books that you enjoy. There's no sense in reading a book if you don't think you're going to enjoy it. And that's exactly what I was doing. So I was reading this book, Why We Sleep. And I'd heard so many good reviews about it. And, you look on Amazon, it's like near 5-star reviews. So I was going through the book, and eventually I was getting a little bit bored of it. But I sort of figured, you know what, this is such a popular book. So many people have made rave reviews about this book. So maybe it's more of a me thing. Maybe I'm just not understanding it and I have to read more before I actually get it. But one thing you have to understand about reading is that different books are for different people, and there's no universal book that everyone's going to enjoy or that's going to be useful for everyone. So I was essentially forcing myself to get through this book, even though I wasn't really enjoying it. And as a symptom of that, I noticed I was reading much less. Maybe before this, I was averaging maybe a book a week. And over the last 2 weeks, I've barely even touched this book. And I could say things like, oh, maybe it's just because my classes picked up and I just had too much work and I didn't have enough time. But realistically, we all have time to read even 5-10 pages a day just to get the ball rolling, just to make a little progress on whatever book we're reading. So the fact that I spent multiple days not reading any pages is really indicative of the fact that I just wasn't interested in this book and I just wasn't motivated to get through it. And in all the reading related videos I made, I really think this is one of the most important tips. You should not be reading books if you don't actually enjoy them. Because one thing I've learned over time is nobody in the world cares how many books you're reading but you. This is a personal thing. It's for your own personal growth, your own personal learning. Depending on the kinds of books you read, if you want to be the kind of person who knows more about the world, or you just want to have a better respect and a better understanding of fiction, these are the reasons you should be reading, not for other people. Nobody knows how many books you've read. Even if you tell them, they're most likely not going to care. So you really, really should not be reading books that you don't like just because you think you'll be more well-read, or because you think that it's a necessary book to become intelligent or whatever else. And again, it seems like such a small fix, but it really is important, because a single boring book, a single book that you're just not really into, can really temporarily change your entire perspective on reading as a whole. I associated this one book with just not being very interesting, and as a result, whenever I thought, oh, I have some time, maybe I'll read a little bit, my brain sort of jumped to, maybe we're just not in the mood, maybe the time just isn't right, maybe the vibe isn't there. But other times when I was reading a book that I really enjoyed, just the prospect of reading, just the idea of having a couple minutes to just get through this book and learn a little bit more, that just excited me. So depending on the kind of book we're reading, or in the wrong case, the kinds of books we're forcing ourselves to read, it can really change your perspective on reading as a whole for a short period of time. So like I've said before, only read books you enjoy if you want to get through more books and learn more. If you're only into entomology, read books about entomology. If you're a car person and you just want to read about cars, do it. There's no right or wrong way to do this. We're all just figuring it out as we go. So you might as well enjoy yourself. Now, I hope you can find this rant at least a little bit helpful. I kind of just needed to get that out because I've been wanting to read more, and I noticed that I've really just been plateauing on this one book, and I think it really is time that I switch it up and just try something else. Now, if you like videos like this on studying, productivity, education, learning for college students, I really recommend you subscribe. There's going to be a whole lot more videos like this soon, and the more people who subscribe, the closer I get to having money to buy more Popeyes, which would also be nice. So like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys soon.